Hi everybody, welcome to Bethesda Unpatched. This is episode number 4. I am Joe the Wigit, and I am joined by the epic space trucker with the most epic goatee known in the 15 universes, Kilo.
Wow, that was actually not half bad. I mean, you obviously pulled it out of your ass, but it was pretty good.
Yeah, very clearly.
And I'm happy with my goatee. My wife actually bought me for my birthday some beard oil and stuff like that. I've been using it.
I finally got a haircut.
Luscious. I see that. You got all of them cut too, it looks like, not just the one.
Yeah.
The haircut. Dad joke.
Yep.
Come on.
I got it.
No, we got it.
Just wasn't that good.
Never is.
Well, that's the whole point of a dad joke, right? To make you groan.
That's right.
Not laugh.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If you're not making someone groan, you're not doing a dad joke properly. I can talk today. My allergies have been going crazy.
Killing it.
So if my voice breaks up tonight, I apologize. It's just the two of us tonight. We're going to rock it out old school, going into my Fallout 76 adventures and whatever Mike and aka Kilo decided to go into. I did see the name Andrasia though, so I'm interested in that.
Yep. Little Starfield, actually a little bit of Dishonored and a little bit of the evil within as well. That's kind of all over the place a little bit.
You did do Evil Within. I remember you talking about doing Dishonored and how excited you were about that, so I'm excited to see what you think about that. I played it one time right after it first came out years ago.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute.
And it was a pretty good game. I never played the second one.
I'm going to get my way through it. There's one, there's two, and there's another one. The name escapes me because, of course, it does. I don't know if it's an expansion or if it's a standalone title that's in between the other two. From what I understand, what I've read, you don't have to play the first one to play the second one. They're actually not. It's not a sequel technically. So,
well, then why did they name it Dishonored 2?
I don't know. Don't know.
I might have to check out that game one of these days once I get over my addiction with Fallout 76.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I was thinking, I'm gonna go ahead and play Oblivion again this week. I'm gonna get into some Doom. Never happened. Nah, it was Fallout 76.
Our favorite mistresses always call us back, right, to their loving embrace, right? Because that's what happened with Starfield for me this week. All right, look, I am just over 5 months sober. Go me. I have a harder time putting down Starfield than I ever have beer.
Really?
I'm just saying. Just saying. I'm not. I don't know if it's like that for everybody. But yeah, I like I said, I tried to get into some other games, but man,
I really need to finish Watchtower.
That's what I went back for. Yeah, Watchtower.
So right now I have 4 or 5 Bethesda games on my list to do, but I just have not done them. I'm too busy with 76 right now.
Yeah,
I forgot how good that game is.
Like you had a lot of fun.
I did. Frustrating, but it was a good time. Very frustrating at times. As I'll get into with the ragstag incident.
The ragstag incident.
Yeah.
That sounds like the next Jason Bourne movie.
If you count two-headed mutated deer as a part of that, then sure. Yeah, why not?
Sure, why not?
I was going after him like Jason Bourne after his next target. But
it's as realistic as anything else you see in those movies.
True.
No hate on Jason Bourne. I actually love the series.
It's a good series.
As far as Matt Damon being involved, once they kind of veered off that, I lost interest.
One thing that sticks out with me with the whole Jason Bourne series is that one of the movies, they featured one of the aircraft that I worked on for 4 years. The Predator.
Oh, really?
The Predator drone.
Oh, no kidding.
And we don't like calling them. If anyone at work called them a drone, we got in trouble. They were UAVs, unmanned aerial vehicles.
Oh yeah, that tracks.
Yeah, when people think of drones, they think of those 4-propellered little guys that are annoying. No. The Predator is a full-size aircraft that's unmanned.
Oh yeah, they're big.
Yeah,
they're big. When I think of the Predator drone, I think of the A-Team movie. The one that came out a few years ago.
Yeah,
it's probably more than a few years now. I'm old. Time kind of blurs, but I always remember the scene where they dropped the tank, I think, out of the C-130, and then the Predator drones are coming in, cutting out the parachute and stuff, and yeah, for some reason that always pops in my head.
Fair enough.
Anyways,
yeah, back to Bethesda. I got a little bit of some Fallout lore fun facts I came across today, because I was wondering like how the whole bottle caps thing came into play. So I did a little bit of a dive, found a couple of interesting things that I will bring up later. And there's one article I found that from CBR that has games I've never heard of it that are Bethesda games, old ones, mind you. But they were basically saying games they feel need a remake since the whole
like
thing
from the early
off.
90s, mid 90s, some of those games. So what was the Terminator? There's another one. There's a few of them and I was not expecting.
Yeah.
At all.
I didn't know they existed, so that was different. Especially their side scroller shooter, but yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even know that was a thing either. Like, what the heck?
So we might as well just dive into it. Let's get into some news. We got a lot going on here.
Yeah, we can get into some news. So Skyblivion developers visited Bethesda and used that visit to fight the good fight, asking Todd and company to bring back Skyrim-style official modding tutorials. Do you know about this?
No.
So basically what this is that many years ago, Bethesda had a YouTube channel that was dedicated to a tutorial video series specifically for Creation Kit.
Yes, I do remember those.
The idea of, and apparently that was taken down. There were short how-tos basically narrated by different Bethesda devs that explains how the modding process works. And this was something that the Skyblivion developer, Rebel, brought up in a conversation with Todd Howard and suggested that they bring it back in order to help others with the actual making of the mods and navigating the practicalities of game development. I was really actually hoping, I feel like our listener Metal had some issues with his mod this week, and he told me, he said in the Discord, he's like, yeah, now I get paid mods now. Like, it is an absolute labyrinth to work themselves through, and some kind of help with the Creation Kit, it could bring us a lot more great content.
Yeah, there's very few help tutorials out there, and most of them are just like fan-made from their own experience. So, I mean, some of those can be a really big help, but they don't have many official from Bethesda themselves.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what the article said. You can find these mods for different Bethesda games, a lot of them by high-profile authors, but nothing like what existed before. No word on whether or not that is actually going to happen, but it was brought up. Now, this next piece, Fallout 3 remaster happening.
Yes.
So
Microsoft was in court, I think it was like a year and a half or 2 years ago, and they had to show Bethesda's timeline. I remember what the court case was about. I should look at that more, but they had to show Bethesda's actual release timeline, and in it showed Fallout 3 remaster right alongside Oblivion remaster. And since we know Oblivion remaster came out, it makes sense that this one's on the way. Right. And there's the same insider leak that had sprung Oblivion before it released has also came out and said, yes, Fallout 3 remaster is on its way. The bad news is we just don't know when.
Right. That's the big question. Well, it's part of a bigger question, which has already been confirmed, even though we were expecting it, and that's that Bethesda is going to be at Gamescom. They announced it in both in a tweet and on Blue Sky a few days ago. Gamescom being August 20th. It says 20th to the 24th. It's in Cologne, Germany. For us, it's going to be like the 19th to the 23rd or the 24th because time difference. So I guess that leads us into what do we think we're going to see at Gamescom?
That's a big one. I mean, yeah, they tweeted out, hey, we're going to be there. Microsoft tweeted out the same thing, Bethesda's going to be there. And I want to be optimistic and want to say, oh yeah, they're gonna give us a new trailer for Elder Scrolls 6. They're gonna drop the new expansion for Starfield, and they're gonna say, oh, by the way, Fallout 3 Remastered is out now. But that's like at the very most optimistic level you could possibly get right now.
Yeah,
and I would say probably not gonna hear anything about Elder Scrolls 6.
Probably not.
My money, if I was to bet, which I normally don't because my luck's terrible, I would say that they are going to be bringing up Starfield's next expansion. Mm-hmm. Only because they said that they were going to do 2 expansions, one after the other, each year. And we haven't heard anything about it at all this year.
So, I mean, that's maybe a hopefully. I'm hoping Forbes is wrong on that one. There's just been so much turbulence within the community regarding a complete lack of communication.
Yes.
And this is the opportunity to really, really bring it out. So we can hope, but of course we don't know for sure. And I'd be willing to bet something about Fallout 3 Remastered. because it's already leaked. So at this point, they just need to lean into it as far as that's concerned.
I'll bet anything, though, that I'm 100% sure they're going to bring out the new expansion information for Elder Scrolls Online and probably the next major update for Fallout 76. Like they did already, but they'll probably do something more with that.
Right.
But that's the only thing I can really think that they could really go with, though, are the three big ones right now. Elder Scrolls 6, which everyone's demanding through the roof about.
Right.
Starfield second expansion. And then the Fallout 3 Remaster. That's the only three that I can think that would be like big showstoppers that they could use.
Yeah. Short of another unexpected title, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
And the fans are circling. And with this leak of the Fallout 3 Remaster, there's blood in the water. They got to give us something. They usually do. Like Gamescom is usually their thing. So
that's the biggest gaming convention in the world ever since E3 went under. Thanks, COVID. I miss E3. Yep. I miss that 1 week of just at my computer waiting for each of the showcases to start. I watched every single one of them.
Yep.
There was one that was just an amazing year. And I think if they would have had it last year, it would have been incredible because this is one of the best years of gaming I've seen in a long time.
Yeah. We've had a lot of good stuff come up the last couple of years. I mean, we're biased about Starfield. We're both big Starfield fans. Yeah, we enjoy that game.
Anything but Bethesda, really.
You got what? Baldur's Gate 3 came out. I mean, there's been a lot of big titles.
And we got one of my favorite game series of all time as a game coming out actually in a couple months, and that's Borderlands 4.
Okay.
So that's man. Take up a lot of my time. I'm hoping, though, we get some really, really, really big news. And to me, my ultimate hope is they say, oh yeah, Elder Scrolls 6 is coming out and it's coming out in November.
Right. Well, yeah. 11/11/25.
There's something there, Bethesda.
Wasn't that Skyrim? Skyrim was 11/11/11.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to forget that one.
Yeah.
So speaking of Skyrim, I want to talk about this because this is definitely, it's got its pluses. I think it's got a lot. There are a lot of concerns. Ambitious Skyrim project could be a slippery slope for future Bethesda games. This is a very rare Game Rant article that I'm sharing because we all know how I feel about Game Rants, quote unquote, game journalism.
Journalism is a very, very loosely used word.
This particular, exactly. This one brings up some issues, and what this is this article is talking about a mod on Skyrim. It is the design of this mod. It's intended to use artificial intelligence to generate conversations. I'm paraphrasing the hell out of this article. So what that means is that, as quoted in the article, in the world of gaming, this can often manifest with the vision of a perfect forever game, or a game that never runs out of fresh content to engage with. And this is basically talking about using generative AI tools to produce game content, literally produce mods, to produce dialogue. For example, the Skyrim Mantella mod promises to bring NPCs to life by using generative AI, which effectively means in-game characters never run out of things to say to the player. Because it'll, instead of getting like the 3 or 4 standard responses you get, you can actually have longer, more drawn-out conversations with the characters.
But that would have to be, they'd have to put in the ability to actually either voice input or do an actual type-out chat input, which is not something that's part of the game right now.
Well, right.
Unless it auto-generates.
Because you're still limited. Yeah. You're still going to be limited by your own responses.
There's still a lot
that's interesting. I'm not
sure. That basically limits any idea of AI. I mean, it can't rewrite the game code. It cannot actually write new assets and put them in the game world in an instant. There's a lot that is be very limited. Even when you're just playing as an NPC, it's also very, very limited on what it can and can't do. It might be able to mix it up a little bit and maybe pre-generate some responses for you to use, but it wouldn't be like the all-encompassing AI that they're thinking of.
What about from the development side, where if Bethesda gets the impression that the audience are somehow want or prefer AI-generated dialogue and quest writing, I mean, could that really, as they say in the article, buy such an approach wholesale? Will they buy into that? if they have to spend less money on writers. I mean, this sounds like a lot of like what Hollywood was going through a couple years ago with the writer's strike and things like that. Do you think that's something that we need to worry about in the gaming industry?
Yeah, it's a strong possibility. I think in the next few years, we're going to start seeing more video games using AI-based content, especially what actually writ into the game for human AI interface for side characters, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's still going to be very much a driven narrative for main stories and things like that. That's going to be written by humans and done for humans, or done by humans. But I don't think we're going to see it coming into games a little bit at a time in the next few years, but it's not going to be anything that's going to be all encompassing yet. I think we're still 10, 15 years away from that.
No, fingers crossed. Well, on to something a little more interesting, a little less doomsday-ish. So there is this fallout shelter at Voyageurs National Park. This is an article by B105 Country. I don't know what that is, except it's a country channel. I don't know where it's necessarily located.
The Northland's number one for new country.
Yep, this
no idea.
The vault in question is in northern Minnesota, and what this used to be was a root cellar, and it was eventually converted into a fallout bunker.
Yeah, those exist all over the United States.
Yep, they do. Yeah, actually, you can walk around downtown Detroit, and I've done it many times. Like, there's an old Catholic cathedral right next to Comerica Park where the Tigers play, and it's a big sign, fallout shelter, bolted to the side of it. Anyways, this old bunker was built for a logging camp, and Hoist Bay, it was a really creatively conceived name because there's a hoist machine that would lift logs out of the water, put them on a train to transport them to a sawmill in Virginia, Minnesota, not the state. And apparently it closed down and it was converted during the Cold War into a bunker. But one of the most, and you can go actually see this, you can kind of explore it a little bit. It's not stocked, it's not really in use. But the curious thing is if you look at the door, it says Fallout Shelter 33.
Yeah, I just showed it on this actual camera. So if you're watching this on YouTube, yeah, that's what it looks like. It would have been funny if they painted it blue with yellow highlight.
Yes, it would have been funny, but people are calling it Vault 33. And of course, Vault 33 is a vault in the TV series that gets rated.
Yeah.
Yep. Spoiler for season 1.
If you haven't seen it yet, then you deserve a spoiler.
Yeah, it's actually a really fantastic scene. Ella Purnell is just fantastic throughout. But yeah, so there you go. Vault 33 is in northern Minnesota, in case you ever want to check it out.
And that is your Bethesda news of the week. We both contributed to this one. All right, so
yes, we did.
Fallout 76, like I've told you, has just been my addiction recently.
Fair enough.
Really addicted to it when I first played it. And when I first played it, I didn't know anything about Fallout. I played a couple hours of Fallout 4, and that was it. But Fallout 76 was my introduction to the Fallout world, and I got to learn all about like how the different shelters were. Most of them were experiments for different things. There was only a couple control shelters that were legit normal, and I'm pretty sure 76 was one of those test ones. I don't remember the story on that, but
I have Vault 76.
Yeah, Vault 76.
Yeah, the thing behind Vault 76 is it was one of the first ones. If I remember the lore correctly, it was a control shelter, except it was designed to open before most of the other ones.
Right, because the whole thing about that shelter, from what I vault, is you have to go out and recolonize Appalachia. Mm-hmm. They were expecting there to be nothing there, just a wasteland.
Right.
Yeah. Lo and behold, there's a lot more than that.
Yeah.
Well, I
there's
know
two-headed deer and there's glowing fish.
Yeah, about that. And one thing I find interesting, though, is it makes sense why they did the story that way, because the original design of the game was that there wasn't going to be no NPCs, there wasn't going to be no quests. It was literally going to be go out, harvest, and build your own world and environment, which was an interesting idea and concept, but clearly it flopped. So they rebuilt it into an actual Fallout game with a whole bunch of story, whole bunch of quests and factions and everything all over this place, and it's the most alive, in quotes, Fallout game I've played, and I haven't played that many.
Right.
So I have not missed a single day for my daily fishing quest trying to upgrade my rod and reel and all that good stuff. And I found out that in order to upgrade the actual reel, is what the most important thing on that rod is, I have the Mark 1. I need there's 2, 3, and 4 4 is the only one you can maybe catch the legendary fish with 3rd, but the 4th is recommended. And there's 3 fish that are legendary fish that are like the ultimate achievement. I have no prayer to catch one right now.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm lucky if I catch an uncommon or a rare fish. So I have to do the fishing achievement, and the one that I'm on right now to get the Mark II is I have to catch 3 rare fish while it's raining.
You have to. Okay.
And that's difficult to do.
Is that just a timing thing, or does it make it more difficult?
There's a better chance of getting more rare fish, and I even found out how to get glowing fish even, and how to get a lot of these different ones. Like the 3 legendary fish only can be caught in 3 very specific locations. You can find those online, but the rare fish, for instance, have the highest spawning chance in a nuclear storm. So right after a nuclear blast happened, so you need like full gear, rad storm, in order to be able to go do it. And I don't right now, so it would kill me.
Oh, okay.
And then when it's raining or snowing, and it's hard to get that timing right. And today, an hour before we recorded, or started to prep to record, it started raining outside my hut.
Okay.
So, right after I finished my daily quest for the fishing, I jumped over there and started fishing, and I caught my first glower. It was my first glowing fish. I was so excited. Took screenshots, threw it on our Discord. Yeah, people are just probably who've been doing this for a while have been rolling their eyes right now. I've caught hundreds. Well, I don't.
Hey, it's all good.
I have the Mark I reel. Come on. But it was a piranha, an ugly, green, glowing piranha, right outside my shack in the stream right there. So that's fun. Yeah, it was. So instead of, from what I understand from the captain over by the giant hermit crab with an ass that's a ship,
right?
He was saying about if you get glowing fish bits, you'll get something better from him. He likes them more. So I was tempted to turn my fish into glowing fish bits, but nah, I mounted on the wall. It had to be a trophy. My first catch.
Look at that. Yep, there it is. Yeah.
Ugliest sin, but you know what? It's cool.
It is pretty cool.
Hung it right over my chemistry station and my tinker bench.
I like your electrical post right there inside the window like that.
Yeah, it's great, right? My little shack is hardly anything still. I barely was able to hook up electricity recently and get lights on.
Nice.
There's no decorations other than the glowing fish on the wall. It's what it is.
Hey, that's a good decoration right there.
I don't have much unlocked right now, so I don't have many things I can really put up yet. And most of those you get through plans playing the game or through the Atomic Shop.
Right.
So, yeah. And I did finish one achievement, catch all common fish. So I got a rocket bobber.
Oh?
Yeah, it doesn't do anything to the actual
What is
catch.
that?
It's just a bobber that's the old Nuka-Cola rocket. So it just sits on the water and bobs up and down. You get a couple different ones.
That sounds cool.
Change anything. It's just cosmetic. Well, I had a quest with that psychotic robot that I was talking about at the end of the last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm still doing her experimental kill list. And one of the things was to create a live bait, explosive live bait, to blow up wildlife. And one of the things, part of the recipe I needed, is I have to craft this thing, was ragstag meat.
Oh, okay.
I thought, sure, no problem. Those are very common wildlife throughout Appalachia, all over the place.
Yeah.
That's what I thought 3 hours before I found one.
3 hours.
3 hours. It got so bad that I was on foot all the way through the central part of Appalachia where they're supposed to be. I even looked up the best places for them to spawn. And it said that on this guide, it said that if you fast travel to one of these 2 locations that it gave me, you will never be more than a few steps away from a herd of ragstags. My ass. I went to both. And I ran around each one of them for an hour and didn't find nothing.
Of course.
Finally got frustrated and started heading down into and I call it Death Valley, but it's like heavily irradiated. I can't speak. Lots of radiation down there.
Irradiated?
That one.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That one.
I have to do fishing quests. My dailies like to wind up in that spot, so I have to constantly have Rad-X and Radaway in order to survive just to catch 7 fish.
Right.
Yeah, on my way down, I was overlooking on a cliff with my sniper rifle that overlooked the entire valley, and lo and behold, I found one. Sitting next to a heavily radiated puddle, both heads staring at me, and I took my shot from, I'd say, at least a half mile away. Killed the thing.
The far one.
Yeah. I had to run over there and get it, and I was so relieved. But something so simple was such a pain in the neck to find.
Right. Well, that's because you were looking for it.
Yeah. True. But I did find a couple interesting things while I was looking for these ragstags, and one of them was a basement inside of an old house in that valley, or in the mountains near the valley. Mm-hmm. So in a little tiny town, and it was a lab. So I went down there to check it out, and what he wrote in the computer cracked me up. So this Dr. Eddie Harrison was studying how if he could have animals talk.
Okay.
And he was out there alone. This is after the war and everything went to crap.
Okay.
And he was getting depressed from being alone all the time. So he decided to give himself a companion. And his thought was, I'm going to write myself while I'm sober, and then that night, I'm going to get completely trashed and write back. So it's like talking to two different people. It goes back and forth with this. It was so freaking funny. It was so well done. And there's a side quest hilarious. You can do to go try to finish his experiment with tagging animals with these darts to see if they can talk.
Okay.
I'm going to do it one of these days. I haven't done it yet. And then I came across this house that always looked like new signage all the way up for grand opening up in the middle of nowhere and up in the mountains. And so I followed it to see what was up. And there was live people there. It was a real grand opening for a club that I had never seen before in my previous playthrough. And it actually has slot machines, working slot machines.
Is it NPCs or are you talking about other players?
No, it was NPCs.
Oh, okay.
It definitely built something from Bethesda. And there's a whole big quest around it. And it was an annoying quest because it actually bugged out on me.
Oh.
Before I went even to the basement to the bar, I played the slot machines for about 20, 30 minutes. Wound up losing 50 caps.
Good investment.
Yeah, to me that was not bad. The highest payout I got was 15, and it cost 10 to play each time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I went down to the Rose Room, which is this grand opening, and they actually had someone on stage singing really bad jazz. And the whole quest started, and the bartender asked me to play bouncer for him. Well, this lady went up and played one of those big horns that really should not be played by itself.
Okay. Like a trombone or?
Yeah, but bigger.
Or tuba?
Oh, yeah, okay. It was like a tuba. It was big. And she's in there performing terrible. So a fight breaks out, and they start shooting at me. So I pulled out my 6-shooter and started taking everybody out. And for some reason, the bartender, the NPC, starts shooting at me, even though I was doing what he said to do. And I got tired of it, so I shot at him. And of course, it doesn't do anything to him because he's a key NPC.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So I had to start running, booking it out of there. And when I got halfway down the road, I went back and checked, and yet it reset. So I was able to continue the quest.
Okay.
Yeah, apparently his sisters were strung out on some kind of new drug, devil's blood or something like that. Came out of Atlantic City, so I have to go to Atlantic City. And this is the first time I've seen these quests, because this wasn't in the game last time I played. It's two areas you get to go that are new areas outside of Appalachia. So it's like the first expansion to the game.
Oh, I think I heard about that.
Yeah.
The Pit.
Yep, the Pit, Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Yep, the Pit is an expansion for also Fallout 3.
Yeah.
There's also an Is it Fallout 3? Someone's yelling at the computer, their radio right now. But yeah, it was it was Pittsburgh. You had to go to Pittsburgh.
The Pit. And I did find out that there's new responders, because when you first get into the game, you join the responders, but they're all dead and gone.
Right.
So you're the only responder left alive for the most part. Well, they're back. And they took over one of the big houses in the south that used to be just like a robot shopping spree. There's a whole bunch of like bodega shops in the bottom and the basement, and these robots were managing it. That's where I always went to find screws and little things I needed to buy. But they took over the top of it, and they made the house bigger, and places you couldn't get to before are now wide open, and a whole bunch of new dailies, a new faction, and that quest is what got me the quest to go to Pittsburgh, the Pit.
Got you.
So I'm thinking they added, I just said the name of it, Atlantic City after the Pit.
Yeah.
Because there's now 2 places you can go. And I got 2 quests to go to Atlantic City now, as well as Pittsburgh. So that's on my list to do. I just haven't had time to do it.
You got to go to Atlantic City. I want to hear about this.
Yeah, that's my first one going to. I got 2 quests to knock out there, and I'm going to finish this little family feud thing and get the daughter some more drugs, because if she goes off of it, it'll kill her.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. And I did this quest with Rose, the psychotic, robot.
Oh, the Miss Handy?
Yep, Miss Handy.
Okay.
And the next quest I did after I blew up some wolves with the ragstag meat was I had to go and literally says, make friends with Deathclaw. So I had to go find a Deathclaw and attempt to make friends with it. Yeah.
How'd that work out?
About as well as you expect. It's a death claw. I went actually in there and got close enough to this thing. Normally I would snipe and be quiet and might live. I ran in there, went up to a alpha freaking death claw in the middle of this cave, and had put the option to try to make friends. And then it started mauling me to death. And I walked out of it with like 5 hit points left, and I killed it.
Okay, so you did not make friends with it.
No. I've been awesome. No, I want a Deathclaw pet.
Heck yeah, man.
Yeah, so
that reminds me of in Fallout 4, you go to Diamond City, that's like the main settlement of the map, right?
Yeah.
There is a restaurant there that's run by a Mr. Handy, and one of the dishes that he makes is a Deathclaw omelet. So you have to acquire Deathclaw eggs.
Yep.
And you have an option. You can either give it to him, I believe, one way or another, you have the option to return the Deathclaw eggs to the nest. And that's the only time I've been within swiping distance of a Deathclaw, and it didn't kill me. It's actually a really, really cool scene. Yeah, it's a cool little quest.
You actually have to get a Deathclaw egg pretty early in Fallout 76.
Oh, really?
Yeah, sneak up and steal it, because you're way too low level to survive an encounter with a Deathclaw at that point.
Right. That's funny.
First time I did it with my other character, it killed me. It took me 2 or 3 tries to get it. This character, I got lucky, got it, and got out.
Right on.
Yeah.
That's good.
So I have fed old Boat Butt several times so far with the fish bits every time I do my daily. And it's only popped out 3 legendaries. And one was just a power armor, which I got today. And the other 2 are weird legendary melee weapons, like a freaking rolling pin, a 3-star legendary rolling pin.
Oh my god, really? That's amazing.
All I can get.
There's an encounter in New Vegas. I think it's a random encounter, but you get jumped by this group of like old ladies wearing poodle skirts, and they attack you with rolling pins.
Nice.
Yeah. So I wonder if that's a nod.
Probably is. I bet there's several nods to different Fallout games in this game that I just don't know.
I'm sure.
Yeah. The last thing I did was I got my own fancy golfing digs. I'm sporting the whole golfing polo with the sweater vest and shorts.
No, I saw the picture.
Yep. And leggings. I'm rocking it out, man.
I gave you the Happy Gilmore quote right after you posted that. So if I wore that, I'd have to kick my own ass.
Yeah, but hey, it fit. Why not?
Hey, it makes you happy, man. More power to you.
Yeah, that was my adventures in Fallout 76 this week.
That's fun, man. I did a couple of different games. Because I was playing Starfield, like you do.
Yeah, of course.
And I decided, like, all right, you know what? There's a lot of other Bethesda titles out there. I'm going to try some other ones. So I go into Game Pass. I start going down the list, and I decided to give The Evil Within a shot. Now, what I like about this game, what I really love about it, actually, is that it is absolutely old school, late 90s survival horror. It has that same, it came out in 2014, but it has that same feel of the old school, gory survival horror, which I loved. I played the heck out of Resident Evil, the first one, the original. I played the heck out of Silent Hill, all of those games. I loved them.
The only one I ever played was Resident Evil 2 and beat it.
Okay, yeah, I played and beat that one too. Resident Evil, the best one for my money. I stopped playing after 6. The best one for my money was Resident Evil Director's Cut. Was the best because it was even gorier. And, yeah, you know me. I'm into that stuff.
I'm not into it.
It's not your bag. I know it's not your bag, but
hey, at least you're into it and you can play it and you can talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this game does not hold back. For those who aren't familiar with it, it starts in a hospital. You're a cop. This huge bloodbath took place. It's kind of got like a noir horror kind of feel too, which I absolutely loved. Eventually, you do get kind of ambushed. The game's 11 years old. You're watching a security feed, and you're watching these cops shoot at something, and this dude zips in all like Quicksilver-like and takes out these 3 cops, and then all of a sudden he's behind you. You get captured. When you wake up, you're hanging upside down from the rafters, and there's this gory Jason Voorhees-like dude who is basically chopping these other people up, turn them into dog food. I don't know for what. And you have to one of the guys who was with you is hanging dead. He's got a knife in his gut, so you got to swing over, grab the knife, cut yourself down, and from there you can see through a doorway, and in the doorway there's a table where this butcher dude is working, and he kind of wanders off. So you got to sneak in there, you grab the keys, and I'm thinking like one of the first things you see when your character stands up is he's going for his gun, his holster's empty. So I'm like, all right, my equipment's got to be around here somewhere. That's my thought. So I grab the keys and I'm looking around this room. Well, all of a sudden, dude comes back in from the back, chops my arm off, and then beheads me. Dead.
Lovely.
So I'm like, all right, well, I can't hang around. So the next go around, I get the keys, I skedaddle right out of there. I get to the door, unlock it, go up the stairs, and then there's this catwalk that goes around the room where the dude was working. I'm like, all right, cool. You know, I'm sneaking through. I don't know. I think I hit a pressure plate or something. All of a sudden, alarms go off, and here comes big dude, Big Bubba, and he kills me.
Of course.
I'm like, all right. This is all. I'm not even kidding. This is like within the first 15 minutes. I'm not even kidding. I'm like, okay, maybe I need. Let's try something else. So I decided to play another game that I haven't played before, Dishonored. Never played this game before. I've slept on it for so long. I've heard so many people talk about how good this game is, and it's a little older too. But the story and the characters from the very beginning are compelling. The combat, the gameplay is just amazing.
The gameplay is a lot of fun with the whole specials that you can get and things like that, from what I remember.
Yeah, absolutely. You got a sword in one hand, you got a gun in the other. You know, that's kind of my jive anyways.
Right.
And, you know, the kills and the sneaking, it was definitely a blast. I really wish that I had played this earlier. I do plan on playing through all of the games that are on Game Pass because it's a blast. Absolutely. It's like Bethesda's version of Assassin's Creed almost, it feels like.
It has a lot of the, not Fallout, with Big Daddy. Bioshock feel to it.
Yeah. It does have a little bit of Bioshock feel. I will tell you, it's the only time in all of my years of gaming I've ever been terrified of rats.
Really?
Okay? The skeever rat in Skyrim ain't nothing. Most of the time, right? The rats are low level. So you're making your escape from the prison, and you're going like through these sewer catacombs or whatever. You come across a body, and all of a sudden, all these little rats come swarming in and start devouring the body right in front of you.
Oh,
so
I remember
you're like,
that.
okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm like, well, they're focused on the body. That's probably fine. I'm like, I'm just going to sneak around, and all of a sudden, they all start skittering towards me, and you have to, like, basically just, you know, cut them off you and stab them and beat them, and yeah. And every time I saw rats for the rest of that dungeon, I was jumpy. I'm like, okay, I've never had rats scare me. I'm not even scared of rats in real life. I used to have a pet rat in high school.
Yeah, I had mice. I had a rat once too. Yeah.
So yeah, it's you know, Comic Zone. That was the reason I had a rat. If there's a callback for you guys. Comic Zone. If you've ever played that, you know what I'm talking about. So it was fun. I did take a break, but I also decided that I wanted to finish Watchtower. So back to Starfield, I went.
So you were just all over the map.
Yeah, I played a few different things. Well,
which is great.
I had extra time this week because we had some stuff going on, and I had to take a couple of days off work, so I had time to kind of get into a few different things. Yeah. So Starfield, got back into Freestar. You know, and I was playing, and I came across a load. You know, I never pay attention to loading screens, and on our previous show, we've made fun of the loading screens before.
Oh yeah,
right.
And like, their tips.
Yeah, like sprint makes you go faster, stealth so people don't see you. Like it's just super obvious shit. I came across one that was different. It said that the controls for the Rev 8 can be adjusted in the settings, and I didn't realize that. And it's not like super detailed necessarily. It's mostly just you can pick kind of how the vehicle responds to your controls. Right. You can do it the original Starfield style. You can do it in a way that's kind of like more like some people may be better acquainted with like Halo, the Warthog in Halo. It's just a matter of right. Instead of the orientation of the vehicle, it's the orientation of the camera that determines how your controller responds. Anyways, that's neither here nor there, because what I saw when I went in there, and maybe I'm behind on some things, apparently, because this is something I should have known. I went into the gameplay menu, and I scrolled down, I'm looking through all the different options, and sure enough, right there at the bottom, there's a setting for turning on and off flip glitching.
Oh, really? Yeah, I didn't know about that either.
Remember?
Yeah.
Last year, that was removed from the game, and then they said they put it back in. And I tried to make flip glitching work, and I couldn't figure it out. I was already deep into mods, so I didn't really. I'm like, I can just put a mod on and it can do the same thing.
Right.
But yeah, sure enough, if you're like me and you didn't know that Switch was in there, its default is off. So if you want to flip glitch without using mods, some of our listeners I know are vanilla when it comes to their shipbuilding. We have some very good builders in our Discord actually that use vanilla. They don't use mods at all. Do some great stuff. So that's in there if you didn't know.
Yeah,
or something new.
Someone new joined our Discord today, and they're really good.
Kalendari, he's actually, he's from Starfield Shipyards. He came over from there to check us out. And yeah, we had a whole conversation because if you scroll a little bit up in the Starfield channel, we're having a whole conversation about the different ships he would build. And I saw one of his ships when he first introduced himself, and I'm like, that ship looks familiar. I'm positive I ripped that ship off at some point.
Yeah. That
design. And then it turns out, it wasn't until after that I realized he was in this Starfield group and that he was, one of the members of that group when I was an admin, and I did rip off his design. And you can see if you go into our Discord, the Spirit of Alduin, which is my version of his design, which is pretty badass. That's one of my favorite ships I've ever built.
Yeah, it was a fun little conversation today. Mossy even jumped in on it.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Yep. Lots of Starfield shipbuilding talk. But I finally, I've been running with the Deadeye as my only real firearm.
Oh, that sucks.
And my main issue with it is range.
Yeah, there's none.
And I feel like it's not versatile enough. I mean, I got pretty good, I've churched it up a little bit. So, I mean, it's about the best it's going to be. I think I'm doing like 377 base damage with that.
Let me guess. You went back to, what was your favorite one? The Beowulf?
The Beowulf. Yep. I went and bought a Beowulf and juiced her up.
It's like me and the hard target. It's my go-to.
Mm-hmm. And there's because that was one thing I was complaining about before. You get all these texture packs for the different weapons, like for different colors or skins or whatever. Skins, that's what the word I was looking for. They never included the Beowulf. So I have a mod that is just Beowulf skins. So right now, my Beowulf is in Freestar Collective paint scheme. So it's like brown and black. Looks badass. I love it. It's cool. It does uber damage, and I've been upping my rifleman or my rifle on that one. Very happy with it. And then of course, again, I'm trying to play Watchtower. So I went and got a bunch of companions. I didn't get all of them yet. I got but I did go get Ezekiel,
of course,
who was played by my I hesitate to say hero. sounds a little too much, but it's by Matt Mercer. Matt Mercer, who I greatly admire, yes, as an actor and as a DM. And Jessamine, because I got that mod that you don't have to join the Crimson Fleet to get Jessamine. She's now on Gangarin's Landing, the place where you have to go for Barrett's quest line.
Oh, right, yep.
I did have to run around to find her a little bit, but I did find her. So I go back to Stardock, and I go down into the engineering area where I had stored that contraband, and the crate was completely empty. It's all gone. It's all gone. But I did discover something interesting that I didn't notice before. And people who are further along in Watchtower, I'm sure have noticed this. But when you dock at Stardock, your followerships do as well.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I didn't notice. I just noticed that because I docked my praying mantis, my razor leaf, and I have a nose dock, so I have a perfect view of the station. And then I watch my frontier float up and dock above me. I'm like, oh shit. And then when you go into the bar, you have all those people that are crew for you. They all populate the bar.
Yeah, that I have not seen.
Yeah. Yep. So I had, it was actually really helpful because I went through and ended up using the blackout uniforms again. I made a bunch of them. I'm like, how am I going to, I got everybody on the razor leaf, but I'm like, how am I going to get everybody on the frontier? Well, they all showed up. So I just got them all in uniform there. I did have contraband issues over Aquila. I ended up getting a bounty. I ran because my ship's faster than theirs. So I could. And then I went back and I had to pay like a 700 credit bounty or whatever. This does matter later on in my playthrough. So keep that in mind. Andrasia questline, I did that one again.
Got to.
Of course, I let Andrasia cap Tomasar.
Nice. And I've let her do that one time.
Yeah, I didn't question it this time. I haven't since the first time I let her do it. I'm like, no, you take care of it, sweetheart. I got you. I'm
Get
right
your
here.
rage out.
That's right. And I just noticed, like, I was watching it, speaking with Andrasia before and after that, I just realized, like, I just was kind of compared to other games, right? Because we had just played Oblivion, I've been playing some other stuff, and I just realized how expressive her face is when she's talking. Like, she's almost got like those micro expressions even. It's just so well articulated, and I really appreciated that. So here's where issues start coming into town. I went to do Watchtower stuff, and I noticed that the systems, that normally when you go into the system, I don't know if this has changed for you or not. I'd be interested to know. Those systems are supposed to have badges in the upper right corner that say whether or not Watchtower is present in the system.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I think I've seen that.
Okay. I was not seeing that in any of the systems. I wasn't seeing any of the icons for arrays. And the only listening post that I found was one I had already done. So I'm like, all right, like I was still getting the random encounters. I was still getting like a handful of Watchtower ships attacking me every once in a while when I jump into a system. For some reason, this other stuff wasn't showing up. I mean, I started jumping around in different systems, trying to find nothing. So I don't know what's going on there. I tried to adjust it in my load order, moving it up, moving it down. It didn't really seem to fix it. So I can only assume that it's related to the latest update and that they're, working on it. So anyways, as I was jumping around, I came across something serious because, I download all the different shipbuilding mods, like pretty much all of them. I got Aventech, I got Stroud Premium Edition, I got Matilda Haas Aerospace, I got all these different ones. Well, one that I realized that I had downloaded but I had not seen in a while was Duratech. This is one I mentioned very early on in our other show.
Right. Yep.
And it only dawned on me, I hadn't thought about it in a while, but it dawned on me because I came across Arcturus 2 because I was looking for the systems I had already been in, right? They're always little glowy systems. I jump into Arcturus, and Arcturus 2, it said space station on the map. So I'm like, all right, let's travel to the space station. I do the transition. All of a sudden, boom, there's this giant freaking metal sphere, like right there.
Oh, really?
As soon as it opens, it's like right. I mean, I ran into the damn thing. And I'm like, what the hell is this? It's a big giant circle. Like, I'd never seen it before. I'm driving around. I'm like, oh my God, this is Duratech HQ. So it's supposed to be like a Stroud Eklund Star Yard or Demo Star Yard, except it's completely empty. There's nothing inside. It looks like there's room to fly in and out.
Yeah.
But I ended up going through the docking hatch, and there's literally nothing inside. There's not even an elevator. You can jump down, you can jetpack up, but it's completely empty. And then I started looking into Duratech. It wasn't in my load order. I looked for it on Bethesda.net. I can't find it. I found some issues that were popping up on Reddit a while back. So, and some of the issues surrounded this Duratech HQ, which I didn't even know existed before now.
Right.
So I'm not 100% sure what happens. I'm not sure if that is coming back. Obviously, the mod author removed it, but this thing remains. So that was wild. I don't know.
Giant floating piece of space junk.
Did you ever come across the data broker while you were out flying around? You ever run across this guy?
No.
Okay, maybe this is a newer encounter. But it's this guy. He's like, hey, I got maps. And you can get different, it's like mining maps.
No, that's definitely the one I haven't seen.
Yeah, different elements and stuff. I thought that was kind of cool. It wasn't for me, but it's out there. Maybe someone else will run into it. I did end up playing with mods a lot. I added and removed a bunch of them. And yeah, a few different ones. But
yeah, you told me today. Yeah, I've been a couple hours in mods again.
Yeah, you know how it goes. I tried Ship and Pilot, which was a lot of fun. It was really cool. Let's add these magazines that give yourself perks.
Yeah,
metal. Yeah, had to update that. I picked up the magazine. I went to fly off of off of New Atlantis. My ship was spinning around like an anime character. So I backed out, went to creations. I updated the mod, and then everything was fixed. So it works now. It's not an issue, but it was real weird for a minute. And then one of the mods I ended up doing, of course, I got the Shut Up Cora mod event.
That's almost a must, yeah.
I finally get that one. I ended up getting the Cora code teenager one.
Really?
Now, we talked about this before, and it's the one that makes her like 15 years old.
Yeah.
And she's got pigtails. We made fun of it before. And listen, is it weird as it sounds? Yes and no. It is kind of creepy because she's supposed to randomly change outfits. In the first one she shows up in, she's basically in the vanilla undergarments. So I immediately, and you have the option to make her dance, so that's fun, right? I immediately turned off the clothing switch so she wouldn't switch garments, and I put her in freaking blackout fatigues.
Yeah, time out, young lady.
So she's in uniform. Yeah, that's enough of that. You're not leaving the house. Dad, thank you very much. The cool thing about this, the one thing is I tried to take her to enhance to change her appearance because I want the pigtails. They're just weird. It looks weird. I'm not into it. I just wanted her to have like a normal freaking haircut. But the premise is that she's an ensign on your ship and she's aspiring to be a captain. She follows you, but she doesn't count as a follower. Kind of like how Robo Dog Meat doesn't count as a follower.
Yeah.
So I was running around Neon with her, Andresia, Robo Dog Meat, all following me around.
So they made Cora basically Starfield's version of Wesley Crusher from Star Trek.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, that's pretty much what it is. But the biggest selling point on this mod, because I came across it when I was looking for the Shut Up Cora mod, and I'm like, all right, let me read the description. The coolest thing about this, and the reason that I wanted to get her, was the fact that she has a feature that's called Cora's Stash, and it's basically a bag of holding. You can give her things like contraband, and it can't be detected because it's not technically on her person. I don't give a shit about cheating. And yeah, maybe it's a little weird. I'm using a 15-year-old girl as a mule still in the game. However, I had a valid point for it. And yeah, and she talks less now. So that's fine. That was pretty much my whole playthrough. I did a lot.
Yeah, no kidding. Stuff. We're getting low on time, but I still want to get this last bit of things really quick. We got a little bit extra time. Fallout lore fun facts. So it started because I wanted to find out about bottle caps, how they became the currency of the Fallout universe.
Sure.
In the original Fallout 1, bottle caps were chosen as currency due to their scarcity and difficult, and they're very difficult to counterfeit, apparently.
Right.
I don't know how they'd be difficult to counterfeit.
There's no machines to reproduce them. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be a huge pain in the neck to try to do it manually, and it wouldn't look right.
Yeah, never mind the fact that they would probably... Anyway. Yeah, I mean, they probably come in giant bags to the distribution center where they're put on the caps. I'm sure there'd be a way to do it if you had access to a Nuka-Cola plant, which appears to be in every game. So I'm just saying. So
I figured this out early on that the Fallout universe is a divergence from our universe. Like at a certain point in time is where it diverged and would get its own different reality. And it's obvious because it's a couple hundred years in our future, or 100 years in our future, and it looks like 1950s and 1940s.
Right.
So the Fallout timeline...
That's because Go ahead. Oh, I was just gonna say it's the transistor. It's the microchip wasn't invented, therefore technological miniaturization never happened. And they do say it's somewhere between the 1940s and the 1960s ish. It's somewhere in there is where they never really nail it down.
Yeah, they say 1940s, but then I read a Reddit post and went down that rabbit hole, and they were speculating all the way into the 1800s.
I mean, that's entirely... Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, it gets a little muddy. You know, because I dove into this really big back when I got the AR-15 mod in Fallout 4, because I'm like, would there be an AR-15? Would that have been developed? And I decided, yeah, because it's cool.
Why not?
Because I could stretch it enough to be like, they could have, because it was made in the 1960s. So
yeah, so the whole thing is, the big speculation is 1940s, with key differences like the USSR still in existence, and 13 Commonwealth U.S.
Yep, the 13.
And there's even bigger differences also, but yes, I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
There's a ton of inspiration from Blade Runner all throughout Fallout, and Bethesda's very, very vocal about the fact that many of their games have many, many influences throughout popular culture.
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
And there's a lot.
The synths, too. There's specifically the rooftop scene from the original Blade Runner. You can find on a rooftop, I believe, in Boston.
Nice.
Yep.
Super mutants and ghouls. Super mutants are a result of a collaboration between the U.S. government and the Master, while ghouls are formed due to radiation exposure. But the mutants were genetically engineered.
Yep. and the FEV program, which was continued by the U.S. government. And interesting now that the TV show is kind of changing how ghouls work in terms of being a normal, regular person walking around and turning into a mindless. Yeah. That is a point of some contention.
The Fat Man's Chime, the mini nuke launcher, it's a sound effect after firing the Fat Man mini nuke. It's actually a recording of the lunchroom bell at Bethesda.
I did not know that one. Huh.
There's a lot of Lovecraftian influences, the Dunwich Building and its counterparts.
Oh, yeah.
Pickman's
Dunwich
Gallery.
Building is one of my favorites. Pickman's Gallery is also amazing.
So the Mysterious Stranger, I didn't know about him until Fallout 76, and you can actually have a card you can play, put it on your loadout that will give a Mysterious Stranger that comes and helps you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Mysterious Stranger in Fallout 3 in New Vegas is heavily implied to be the father of Lonesome Drifter.
Yep. Who's another character you run into. No, he is a character that you run into in New Vegas.
And here's something, the last thing I'm going to go into this on this I thought was very cool. Well, there's two things, really. Fallout was initially not intended to be a post-apocalyptic game. Earlier concepts involved time travel and dinosaurs.
Wow, that is a departure.
Yeah.
That is a departure.
That's a massive departure.
Oh, my God. I want dinosaurs. Where's my dinosaurs?
So the last thing I want to get into is these games that they were talking about would be great. Well, who did it? CBR. Yeah. The 8 classic Bethesda games that they feel deserve a remake. And the first one is XCar, Experimental Racing. I didn't know that Bethesda had originally done their own racing game called Delta 5. It was a first-person sci-fi racer, which you piloted virtual crafts through obstacles, field, trenches, things like that. But then Bethesda acquired a studio, MediaTek West, in 1997, who developed the successor called XCar Experimental Racing.
Holy cow!
Which many
I think I remember hearing about XCar, but I don't think I ever played it.
I've never heard of it.
I remember hearing.
So I actually went on. There's YouTube videos of people playing it. It looks really cool. Number 7, Protector is a forgotten Bethesda shooter. So there's a game called Protector. It was good. It was originally developed for the Atari Jaguar, but then it got canceled because the Jaguar's cells were terrible.
Okay, that makes sense why we haven't heard about that one.
But Atari fans successfully lobbied for the release of the console's patent rights, and programmer Carl Foran licensed the unreleased game and made it available for release. Protector was finally released in 1999, and even had an expansion pack in 2014.
No kidding. Huh.
Protector. Yeah, it's like one of those old side-scroller shooters that you find on the Atari. Better graphics. Yeah. Oh, that reminds me. That's right. This was a spiritual beginning for Fallout or Starfield. This game is what prompted Todd Howard to want to build a sci-fi game like Starfield.
Really?
Yeah, I remember reading about that.
No kidding. That's awesome.
They did the Terminator games. They were licensed for that in the early 90s. Between 1990 and 95, they did 5 of them for DOS. And apparently they were really good.
Huh.
This is one I'd never heard of, called Sea Dogs. It was Bethesda and Akela's take on pirate life. Bethesda was the publisher, and it was developed by Akela, Akella.
Akela.
Yeah. And they were making sequels for it, but it got rebranded as Pirate of the Caribbean game.
Also published by Bethesda. No kidding.
And I love pirates.
All right, I need more. I need more pirate. I need a pirate. Hey Bethesda.
Yeah.
Let's get a Skyrim. Hey Bethesda, here's your Hey Bethesda. Let's get a Skyrim DLC about pirates in Tamriel. Let's do it.
I wonder if they're going to include something like that in 6.
That would be they would have to if it's going to be taken. Oh my God, you're going to pull me down a rabbit hole. If they're going to, it's the sea, the Corsairs. It's all a big part of the area of Tamriel where this is supposed to be taking place, allegedly.
Yeah.
Which is like the Hammerfell area, I think. I remember. Yeah, the Corsairs, the pirates. Yeah, that could be a huge thing. Oh my God, I just got more excited. I forgot about that.
This is an Elder Scrolls game I never played. Elder Scrolls Adventures Redguard.
Heard of it, never played it.
Yep, heard of it. It came out, I believe, in between Morrowind and Oblivion, I believe. That one could be interesting. I know it got pretty good ratings. Not as good as the main video games in Elder Scrolls series, but yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a game called...
I've heard of...
What?
I think I've heard... Trying to remember if I played this one or not because it sounds familiar. The protagonist is voiced by Eliza Dushku.
Yeah, it came out in 2009.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember if I played this one or not.
I never even heard of it.
I might have. I've heard of it for sure.
And then they were...
I definitely remember the box art.
I've never heard of it. And of course, the last two they go on to mention is Morrowind. I'm sure a lot of people agree with that one. And they said Fallout 3.
Fallout 3.
But yeah, it's already being made, guys. It's good.
Yep. It's in the works, man.
It's time to remake Fallout New Vegas. Yep. I think the next biggest thing in gaming is remaking the classic amazing games.
Right.
That's the biggest thing. And when they do Chrono Trigger, I'm going to pee myself. And that is what we have for today's show.
That's a wrap.
It's a wrap. To show your support for this show, follow us on YouTube or your podcatcher of choice. For instance, iTunes and Spotify. Be sure to subscribe, rate, comment, and review. It helps us immensely, and it helps us to be noticed by others who might enjoy this podcast and Bethesda fans.
All of our contact info and socials can be found on our link tree at linktr.ee/Weird Chaos Media. That's weird, WYRD, chaos with a K, media.
Bethesda Unpatched is a Weird Chaos Media production.
Your hosts are Joe the Widget Wilson and Michael Kilo Litwin.
Produced, directed, and edited by Joe the Widget Wilson.
Social media manager, Michael Kilo Litwin.
Opening theme and outro by Joe the Widget Wilson.
Network logo and podcast artwork by Metal.
Bethesda Unpatched drops every Friday evening on YouTube with a live premiere, as well as anywhere you get your podcasts. The audio version premieres in the morning every Friday, with the YouTube version every Friday, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. Thank you so much for listening, watching, everybody, and have a fantastic week in the Bethesdaverse.
Peace out.